Poltekkes Semarang.
Hi everyone! Welcome back to my videos. So let me introduce myself. My name is Puji Widyarti, a 5th semester student of Applied Nutrition and Dietetic Programs, Nutrition Department, Poltekkes, Kemenkes, Semarang. Today, in this video, I got an assignment from the English for Academic Purpose Net and Diet course to make a presentation on disease intervention. On this occasion, I will present about interventions for hypertension, which of course will contain interesting and useful information. So everyone, don't forget to watch this video till the end, okay?
Hi everyone, talking about hypertension. Hypertension is often referred to as the silent killer because it often does not cause symptoms. So it is not surprising that this disease is one of the causes of various life-threatening complications. Therefore, we need to know how to intervene for hypertension. So today, I want to present tense about intervention for hypertension. Okay, the first is, what is hypertension? According to the World Health Organization or WHO, hypertension is a condition where the increase in systolic pulse is above the normal limit, which is more than 140 mmHg, and diastolic pulse pressure is more than 90 mmHg. Okay, many people in the world do not realize that they have hypertension. So, what is the prevalence of hypertension service in the world? From World Health Organization data, in 2018, shows around 1.13 billion people in the world has hypertension, meaning 1 in 3 people worldwide are diagnosed with hypertension. And then, how about Indonesia? Prevalence of hypertension in Indonesia is 31.7%, which means almost 1 of 3 residents aged 18 years and over suffering from hypertension. And then there is a hypertension classification, and this is from Joint National Committee on Prevention, Detection, Evaluation, and Treatment of High Pressure 2003, which is classification of blood pressure normal is systolic pressure under 120 and diastolic pressure is under 18. And then for pre-hypertension classification is systolic pressure is 120 until 139, or diastolic pressure is 18 until 89. And then for hypertension stage 1, systolic pressure is 140 until 159, or diastolic pressure is 19 until 99. And then hypertension stage 2, systolic pressure is more than 160, or systolic pressure is more than 100. And then the last is isolated systolic hypertension with systolic pressure is more than 140 and diastolic pressure is under 90. And then, so what the reason for hypertension? So there is a 2 risk factor of hypertension. The one is irreversible risk factor and the 2 is modifiable risk factor. Okay, so discuss about it. The first is irreversible risk factor, meaning is risk factor that cannot be changed. The one is gender and then age and family history. And the second risk factor is modifiable risk factor, meaning is risk factor that can be changed. such as smoke, and then eat less vegetables and fruit, and then excess salt consumption, obesity, lack of physical activity, excess alcohol consumption, dyslipidemia, and stress. And also, why is hypertension dangerous? Because if blood pressure is not controlled, it can cause complications such as heart disease and then stroke, kidney failure, or kidney disease, retinopathy, peripheral vascular disease, and then neuropathy disorders, and the last is cerebral disorders. So, everyone, how to control and prevention of hypertension? So risk can be reduced in the following ways, such as reducing salt consumption, and then do physical activity regularly, do not smoke, and then adopting the DASH diet, and then reduce and control weight, and the last is avoid consuming alcohol. So the slide is explanation of the point of control and prevention of hypertension. So let's discuss about it. And one is reducing salt consumption. It is recommended that sodium intake under 2,400 mg per day, or the equivalent of 6 grams of table salt per day. And then a person's response to salt intake is different. Hypertensive and diabetic patients are more sensitive to decrease in sodium intake. Point number 2 is do physical activity regularly. Regular exercise can help weight loss, reduce the risk of CHD or chronic heart disease, and prevent blood pressure from increasing with age. Regular physical activity can reduce systolic blood pressure by 4 until 9 mmHg. It is recommended physical activity for 30 until 45 minutes every day, or 90 until 150 minutes per week. Point number 3 is do not smoke. Although not directly related to hypertension, use of tobacco or smoking can reduce the antihypertensive effect of drug use in patients with coronary heart disease. And so point number 4 is adopting the DASH diet. Research shows the DASH diet can lower blood pressure by 8 until 14 mmHg. The DASH diet recommends increasing intake of vegetables, fruit, whole grains, low-fat dairy products, and reducing saturated fat intake, reducing sodium intake, and increasing potassium intake. And then point number 5 is reduce and control weight. Research shows a positive relationship between increasing body weight and a BMI or body mass index and blood pressure. Losing weight by limiting energy intake from food will lower blood pressure, which a loss of 5 kilograms can reduce systolic blood pressure 4 until 5 mmHg and 2 until 4 mmHg systolic blood pressure. And the last point is avoid consuming alcohol. Limiting alcohol consumption can reduce systolic blood pressure by 2 until 5 mmHg. And there is diet management to sodium intake is dropped as follows for M.Sc 2006. There is a 3 diet. The first is low salt diet 1, which is 200 until 400 mg natrium without the addition of table salt, with a patient indications with edema, acidus, and or severe hypertension. And then low salt diet 2, which is 600 until 800 mg natrium, adding a half TSP table salt or 2 grams with patient indications is edema, acidus, and or moderate hypertension. And the last is low salt diet 3, which is 100 until 102. Low salt diet 3 is 1000 until 1200 mg natrium. Addition of 1 sp table salt or 4 gram with the patient indications is edema, acidus, and or mild hypertension. And then, apart from the 3 previous diets, there is one more diet, namely is DASH diet or dietary approach to stop hypertension. Okay, the DASH diet is a diet that recommends consuming food low in saturated fat, cholesterol, and total fat, as well as increasing consumption of fruit and vegetables with 4 until 5 servings per day, non-fat or low-fat dairy products, whole grains, and nuts. Compared to other diets, the DASH diet can provide higher potassium, magnesium, calcium, protein, and fiber, which are believed to control blood pressure. Okay, so in conducting an intervention, there must be a goal to be achieved, and there is a dieting goals. So the DASH diet aims to lower blood pressure in hypertensive patients and can be used as a preventive measures against hypertension. The DASH diet can be used with the aim of weight loss therapy and lowering cholesterol levels. Okay. Besides the goals, there are also principles and requirements for implementing a diet, and there is a 9-point. So let's discuss about it. The one is enough energy if the patient's body weight is 115% of the ideal body weight. It is recommended to have a low-calorie diet and exercise. 2 is adequate protein, adjusting to the needs of the patients. 3 is enough carbohydrates, adjust to the needs of the patients. 4 is a limit consumption of saturated fat and cholesterol. 5 is sodium intake is limited to under 2030 mg per day. If blood pressure reduction has not reached the target, it is limited to 1,500 mg per day. The point number 6 is consumption of potassium. 4,700 mg per day. There is a relationship between increased intake of potassium and decreased intake of natrium and kalium ratio with decreased blood pressure. Point number 7 is made the needs of daily calcium intake according to the age to help reduce blood pressure. Calcium intake more than 1800 mg per day can reduce systolic blood pressure by up to 4 mmHg and 2 mmHg diastolic blood pressure. Number 8 is magnesium intake meets daily requirements or DRI and can be supplemented with a magnesium supplementation of 240 until 1000 mg per day can reduce systolic blood pressure 1.0 until 5.6 mmHg. And the last is in hypertensive patients with other comorbidities, such as chronic kidney disease with hemodialysis or cirrhosis of the liver, the dietary requirements and principles must be modified and adjust to the conditions of the disease. So everyone, this is recommended and not recommended food for patient hypertension. The one is search carbohydrates. Recommended food is whole wheat, oats, rice, potatoes, and cassava. Not recommended food is preserved biscuit with sodium or nasi uduk. And And then search animal protein. Recommended is fish, protein made without skin, egg maximum 1 per day. And then not recommended is red meat, fat parts, canned fish, corned beef, sauces, fish smoke, liver, gizzard, and processed meat with sodium. And then the third is vegetable protein. This is recommended with fresh nuts, and the not recommended is processed peanuts or preserved and added sodium mix. And then vegetables, recommended all vegetables are fresh. Not recommended is preserved canned vegetables and got mixed in a sodium and pickled vegetables. And then search fruits, recommended all fresh fruit, and not recommended is canned fruit and pickles and canned fruits. And then search fat. Food ingredient recommended is palm oil, margarine, and butter. And what recommended is margarine, butter, and mayonnaise. For drink, not is recommended is tea and fruit juice with limited use of sugar, cold water, and low fat milk. And then recommended is vegetable drinks with additional sweeteners and preservatives. And then the last is spices. Spices recommended like spices and then fresh herbs and then salt with limited use. And not recommended is M.Sc and then soy sauce and salt seasoning instead. And everyone, this is a reference that I use, and there is the one is Directorate P2 PTM Kemenkes RI 2019 is risk factor of hypertension, and then penuntun diet and terapi gizi, and then number 3 is dietetik penyakit tidak menular, and 4 is that's the prevalence of hypertension in the world. Okay, everyone, and there is the end of this presentation, so that I can summarize that hypertension is a disease caused by irreversible and modifiable risk factor. We can prevent and control hypertension by paying attention to the right diet and in accordance with the conditions of hypertension. And the more important thing is hypertension sufferers must always be optimistic, because experiencing hypertension is not the end of everything. So it is important to always support them, to always be enthusiastic about having a diet for a healthier and happier life. Okay, everyone, I am Puji Widyarti. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next video. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye-bye.